Good evening, our viewers, and welcome to another episode of your daily show, Achievements. I'm your host, Abdulatif Al-Anizi, and tonight I'm joined with my colleague, Fatma Al-Hajri. Good evening, Fatma.
Good evening, Abdulatif, and good evening, dear viewers. This is your show, Achievements, where we talk about different topics with different guests. So please stay with us after this report.
A successful identity is built on things a person has done. Your most important accomplishments are a very important way for you to measure your success. Colleagues, competitors, and the general public can look at a person's achievements to figure out how successful they are. Most of the time, putting in a lot of work pays off. Most people think a successful life is one of a lot of things to be proud of. When you finish a task, you win over problems or other people. Achieve means to work together to reach a hard and challenging goal. Everyone should be ready to help out and work together if they need to. There are many ways to reach your goal, but in the end, it's up to you to decide how it will pay out in your life. In their careers, some people want to get rich and will be well known. Some people think that even small victories are reasons to have a party. We're all different, so we all have our own thoughts on everything. In the end, though, everyone wants to be happy, and everything you do in life will help you to get closer to that ultimate goal.
Welcome back, our dear viewers. Tonight we're having with us a hero. He is a speech and swallowing pathologist, and he has a clinical supervisor in the Kuwait University and at the University of Alberta. He started the speech and swallowing department in many clinics in Kuwait to increase the awareness. And today we are honored to have with us such a caring person in our show. Please welcome with us our guest, Dr. Mohammed Al-Amir. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you for hosting me, Fatma and Abdulatif.
You're
It's
welcome.
our pleasure.
Yes, really. We are really glad to have you here with us at the show,
Thank
Achievements.
you. Glad to.
Doctor, mashallah, you have a wonderful career with you. But can you tell us from the start, how did you start on your early steps on this passion?
For starters, do you mean we're talking about...
How did you start from the beginning as a doctor in speech and swallowing?
As a doctor, so at the beginning I was trying to do my bachelor. I graduated from high school, just like any other person, and then I just wanted to go abroad. I applied in many places, but I got accepted in France to do linguistics, actually. And then I finished my bachelor, but I felt that something that I was going to do in the future.
You thought like something else was meant for you.
Yeah, because I just wanted to go abroad, and that's it.
Yes.
And it happened that I went to France and studied linguistics. It took a lot of effort from me. It took actually more than 6 or 7 years to finish that bachelor. And then when I went back to Kuwait, because I know for linguistics there's nothing wrong with the major, but it wasn't me. So
you didn't find yourself in that major?
No, because being a linguist is you're just gonna stay where you are. You're gonna finish college and then you're just gonna go back to academia.
Of course.
Or something like this. So I wanted to do something probably more active. So I looked into different majors to do my master's, and then I found this major that is called speech and language pathology. So it took me about 2 to 3 months only to get accepted in the United States. And back then, I didn't speak any English. I only knew something like very few words, yes,
You learned French, but didn't learn English yet. You weren't so good. But in
my
France,
French
you really
was so good that
yes.
I had my dreams in French. I learned French
Yes.
in France, actually.
It's mandatory in order to study there.
Well, because it was there in France and everything was in French.
Yes.
So I found this major, speech pathology, and it happened that studying linguistics is like crossing like 50%, because in linguistics we just study the normal development of the brain and the language and things like that. So I thought that, oh, that's it. Maybe now it's time for me to study the diseases or the disorders that come with the language and speech.
So this is why you chose the major in the medical field.
Yes, yes. I wouldn't say it's medical because I'm not a physician. I am a doctor. I'm a specialist who has a PhD in this. Of course, we work in hospitals and we deal with physicians, with nurses. We call it a clinician. I am a clinician. I'm not a physician, but I am a doctor because I have a PhD in this major. So I went to the United States. I didn't speak any English, but because I know French, English took me probably 3, 4, 5 months. And then suddenly I found myself in grad school.
3 to 4 to 5 months?
Yeah, maximum 6 months. So,
MashaAllah.
well, because when I go to a country, I try to mix up with the people of that country.
And as
Of course.
possible as you can to contact with
And
them.
even like speaking the language, even if it's a foreign language, practicing it with another person really helps you learn the language.
Of course,
This is
of
the most
course.
important thing.
I wouldn't say that I didn't go out with my like Kuwaiti friends. I still connect with them. I go out with them, but the majority of my day is with the native people of that country.
So, doctor, did you have any other major on your mind in case you didn't get accepted on that?
Actually, at the beginning, when I finished high school, I wanted to do media.
Media?
Movies,
Okay.
televisions, cameras, things like that.
There are difference between you.
Yes, he has a lot of
That's what I
different
wanted, but I
interests.
didn't got accepted. So after that, they said no. Let's just go to option B or plan B or whatever. And then I remember that for the first option was, yeah, I was going to do media. And then the second, third, fourth, I just randomly filled. I don't even remember. And then when they called me, they said, you didn't get accepted for the first option. I said, it's all right. I just want to go out. I just want to go out. And then I remember 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, they called me again. They said, hey, someone dropped from the first option, which is media. You can go. But I was like, no, I'm just going to stick to France.
You really enjoyed it there.
Well, yeah. I
How
was
many
like,
years did you spend there?
in France?
Yes.
6, 7.
6, 7 years.
And
That's
it
a lot.
was so bad. Yeah,
It was so bad?
It was hard.
It was hard.
Studying in France is hard. It's very hard, yeah.
Is
I
it because of
enjoyed
the
it.
culture? There are difference between our culture and their culture?
Culture, the system of the universities over there, the language, everything was hard over there.
Of course, the language is really difficult.
Of
Yeah.
course. You
I tried to learn it.
You studied in France, USA, and even in the UK.
The UK, that was like the end. I did my PhD in England.
Yes.
Yeah, I did my PhD. So that's why, because I learned French so much, learning a second language was much easier,
Of
much
course,
easier.
yes.
Yeah, of course.
And
Because
they
now-
usually even say like people who know how to speak English well, they learn French really quickly. And I'm guessing it's vice versa as well.
I don't know if it goes like the other way around, but learning French is so tough that even like, because when you learn French, the Latin languages will be okay for you, like Italian, Portuguese, Spanish. I wouldn't say I know these languages, but my ear can grab words and phrases because
Yeah,
it's
you catch
the
on,
Latin languages. Yeah,
specifically with the
they're
things
very
that-
similar.
Yes.
So English was, for me, was much easier. I wouldn't say I'm perfect in English. I have a lot of mistakes, yeah. But it was much easier for me to learn English, especially that it took me only 3-4 months in between to switch my career, switch the country, switch everything. So I came back from France, and then after 3 or 4 months, I flew to the
went to the
States.
US.
Yeah, I got there.
So
Yeah.
tell us more about your experience in the US.
In the US, I would say it's very similar to Kuwait. Yeah, in a way, because I lived in France, it's so different than Kuwait. But in the United States,
Maybe only the language and a little bit of the culture.
Yeah, the system is similar to like the 4-point whatever system,
You mean the
academic
college
system.
system, yeah.
Like getting a car. Everyone you drives a car over there. The food, the restaurants, the chains, all this. It's more similar to Kuwait than France or Europe. So I would say that yes, it was easier for me to adapt in the States. Yeah.
What about the UK? I think it's closer to Kuwait, so I think it must have been really easy to go back and forth.
Yeah,
from the
I think UK closer.
The UK, yeah, it's a little bit different because after I got my master, I worked in Kuwait maybe I don't know 3 years. But then when I went to England to get my PhD, I was already like more mature. I knew what I was going to do. And then I didn't have to stay there all the time because I have to go back and forth to do my experiments, to do my PhD experiments, and it was like an experimental design where I need to see patient. It wasn't like a survey or anything where I can just do it at home. I had to treat patients, assess, switch treatments. I had to deal with at least 80 participants and stick to them for treatment and then switch treatment. So I wouldn't say that I lived in England the entire time, but it was a lot of...
You were working most of the time.
I remember at one stage I had to fly at least once a month just to discuss few things with my supervisor and then go back again to Kuwait to apply things here and there.
So you didn't get to
tiring.
enjoy the experience of living there, meeting their people, enjoying their scenery.
No. It was like a dream. It was like a dream because I remember that I used to work full time in a private clinic, 8-9 hours, and then after those 8 hours, I dedicated like 4 or 5 hours to receive my patients to do my experiments with them. So that
of course,
phase
it was a little bit harder than expected maybe to live there because of the work that you had and a lot of work.
No, I had to stay maybe for 1 year to take some courses, to do things like that. And then for the writing phase, I remember I stayed there for maybe 6 or 9 months or things like that. But in between, there was a lot of back and forth. England was like the next city to me. I remember even once I had to fly in the morning flight and then came back in the night flight.
So you feel like more in home than like going to Kuwait and coming back to England? Yeah. Like us, maybe going to another city inside Kuwait and then coming back.
So I wouldn't say that I know England very much because once I'm there, I'm stuck with my writing, with my supervisors, with my labs, with my things.
So doctor, can we so we can just know more information? Can you tell us more about this major exactly and what does it do?
What does it do? Speech language pathology. We deal with problem of communication in general. Speech and language, there are forms of communication. So anything that affects your speech, which is voice, stuttering,
difficulty maybe to
pronunciation, the language itself, we treat these. Also, we deal with swallowing. Swallowing, yes, it sounds weird. That has nothing to do with speech and communication, but thinking about it, we use the same muscles. Like for swallowing, we use mouth, lips, tongue, throat, and these are the same muscles that we use to speak. So that's why we deal with these two different aspects together.
Of course, and how often do you treat your patient? Because you mentioned when you were studying, you had to see your patient all the time. So specifically with people with speech disorder, how often do you see them? Is it twice a week, 3 times every day?
It's my daily task because I work in a hospital. I'm always working in clinics, private clinics or public hospitals, and that's part of my day.
But see patients, every patient comes to you every day of the week?
No. Oh, you mean, no, it depends. I mean, on the stage of treatment, on the diagnosis, but I would say in average,
twice a week.
Probably twice a week, once, or I don't like to see patients every day. It's tiring for both of us.
Yes, of course.
Also,
it's going to be too crowded for you.
And actually, it doesn't help the treatment plan because if they come to you more than 3-4 times a week, it means that they are depending on you.
Okay, yes, I can see that because that way they're not going to progress, they're not going to practice by themselves.
I mean, even in private clinics hate me. Why? Because I only call the patient once a week. And once they pass one stage, I make it once a month, once every 2 months, or once every 6 months. However, my phone is always open for my patients because I give them a lot of tasks to do at home, and that's the real treatment. I don't like to bring my patients every day or more than once a week.
So how do you think is the awareness about this kind of disorder?
In Kuwait, I would say it's still developing. I know that we as speech pathologists, we need to make more effort, to spend more time to do this, to focus on awareness. I would say also even some professionals like doctors or nurses, they don't know that we exist here in Kuwait, and they don't know, even if they know there are speech pathologists in the hospitals here, they don't know exactly what we do. And of course they don't know that swallowing is still part of our job. So I would say awareness here in Kuwait, it needs some work, yeah.
It's also, but it's developing in a good way.
Yes, of course. The major is I would say it's a baby. It's still a baby here in Kuwait.
This is what we're trying to do with the show. We're trying to spread awareness.
Yes, I don't know how many speech pathologists now in Kuwait. Maybe around, I don't know. I'm just gonna guess. Maybe around 70, 80, maybe 100.
So you probably all know each other, like most of you, because
probably,
it's not a huge number.
Yes, we know each. I'm referring to the certified ones. There are a lot of people who claim to be speech pathologists, and it's very easy for us to find out that this one is not certified, or they don't even have a degree in it, because our number is small and we kind of know each other. But unfortunately, a lot of other specialties can put their hand on that field because of the lack of awareness.
Of course.
Of course. So, Doctor, your effort was behind starting in many speech and swallowing departments in clinics.
Yeah.
Of course. Why is that?
Why is that? Because I would say when I graduated, we didn't have that number of speech pathologists in Kuwait. Back then, we were probably less than 20 or 30. And especially in the private sectors, they did not have, or maybe very few clinics in Kuwait. So I felt a bit responsible for this. I didn't want to say that I only launched different clinic, but it happened that I worked in different places. Sometimes I work in that clinical setting, for example, and I have to develop the department. In other cases, I get called to probably suggest how to write like curriculums, to write standards, to do things like that, to help other clinics. And probably I did a lot of recruitments, even in different places, even though I didn't work there, but I was part of the recruiting team.
You have your marks on these places, of course.
Maybe, yeah, I would say yes.
But in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. So yeah, I have a lot of recruitment, let's say, things to do here in Kuwait. Even sometimes they call me to recruit like other specialties, because once you are in this field, you have to have like a multidisciplinary aspect in your mind. You need to know a little bit about physiotherapy. You need to know about occupational therapy. You need to know about these other specialties that create networking, a network around the patient. And
you have created that for yourself.
Yes. So I sometimes other clinics, they're recruiting other specialists, like a physiotherapy, for example. I get called to be part of that committee for recruitment, to not because I know about what they're doing. Of course, I know a little bit, but it's to evaluate or they assess their mentality. Yeah. Are they team workers or not? Because it's very important in this specialty. It's very important to you to be a team player, not only stick to what you do. Yeah.
So, Doctor, of course, we have more and more questions, and it is really nice for your answers, and thank you for that. But of course, stay with us, ladies and gentlemen, as we come back for more and more after this report.
Dr. Mohammed Al-Amir is a speech and swallowing pathologist. He has earned his bachelor's certificate in language science in France. He has also earned his master's degree in speech-language disorders from the United States of America. Moreover, Dr. Muhammad got his PhD in assessment and treatment for stuttering from England. Dr. Muhammad has also had the Certificate of Clinical Competence from the American Speech, Language, and Hearing Association. Dr. Muhammad has had many experiences in his field and has experienced many cases. He was the clinical supervisor in Kuwait University and University of Alberta. Moreover, he established a speech and swallowing departments in many private clinics and government hospitals. In addition, Dr. Muhammad is also a certified functional trainer from the Beachbody Association. He is also the headshot photographer and associate in Peter Harley Society. Some of Dr. Muhammad's skills are headshot photography, Arabic calligraphy, and instrumental music. On his own time, Dr. Muhammad enjoys practicing some of his skills and hobbies.
So I'm here in my favorite place, the gym. I come here every day and I train people every day. And today we are doing some functional training. We are using only our body weight and some dumbbells.
Welcome back, our viewers. So, doctor, can you tell us, of course, where we have the story about the time, what you do, what you love, your hobby?
I would say that I do what I love all the time. Like I don't specify a time for me to just, now it's time for me to do what I love, because I also love my work in the hospital. I love my work at the gym, and I enjoy photography when I get a chance. So I would say that almost everything I do is lovely to me, yeah.
So what about the photography? We know that you like photography and included that with your work.
Photography, I started photography while I was doing my PhD in England. I mean, I didn't have any background about photography, but I remember one day I took a course. It's just like 1 or 2 day course, and it was called writer blocks. It means that when you are writing something and you're just your mind block, how to overcome that block. And what they're asking you to do is just go do something else, play tennis, have a walk, travel, do anything. And during that time, subconsciously, your mind will release that block. That's what they said. So I decided to, I remember back then I had this iPhone 3 or something, those very basic cameras. And I just was walking around in England and just taking silly pictures. Little by little, I started to love this. And I got myself a tiny camera. And I
like
noticed
a professional camera?
No, tiny pocket camera. Yeah, nothing fancy.
To walk around, maybe take some photos?
Yeah, just like it was a cheap camera, I remember, pocket camera. And then I noticed that I loved street photography. Street photography is about taking pictures of people, different expressions, different motions, what they do when they're sitting, when they're walking. And then I figured out that I love shooting people. And then to be specific, I
like
started
random
to
photos? Random pictures?
Portraits, maybe?
Not even portraits, just like I'd call it probably candid photography. I just take a picture of people, random people right there. And then little by little, I started to get more interested in people's faces. Yes, I did portrait photography, but then that wasn't enough for me. I just wanted to get closer to people, just shoot that head and shoulder shot where you...
Why is that?
Yes, because I think I started to notice that I love watching people's expression, different expressions, when they're surprised, when they're laughing, when they have like a certain expression in their face that expresses
You like to
something.
capture that?
Yes, I like to capture certain expressions within people. And then I decided to do headshot specifically, headshot photography. Maybe we don't have that culture here in Kuwait. They use it in the States and Europe for actors, for example, for certain people who hold certain positions. So that's when I decided to do only headshots, simple lighting, nothing fancy. I don't even use body language or anything because it's just shoulder and head. And that's when I decided to join Peter Hurley's association. Amazing, he's an amazing headshot photographer. He shoots Hollywood actor. And that's when I decided to do this. And I think that's the only thing I do right now.
For as a hobby, something you enjoy every now and then
of course,
between
and
the workouts,
the majority
clinic.
of my clients, they're people who don't have pictures, people who are afraid of cameras, people who hate their pictures. That's my main population. Like CEOs, doctors, lawyers, things like that. Because most of these people don't have pictures. Whenever you ask them for a picture, they just give you the passport picture, right?
Yes.
Or like a selfie, and they just crop the person next to them. That's the population I focus on, yeah.
Of course, and even when we go back to opening the first time you're at the department that you created the first time for the pathologist, how was it? Did you have enough support from your family, friends? Because I think sometimes like opening something new, specifically that you mentioned that not a lot of people are into this field. So how did you find the support?
The support from my family is always, of course, it was always there. And but opening a clinic, the first time I opened, I wouldn't say I opened the clinic was already there, but let's say I started that department. I can't even remember how that happened. It was just so spontaneous because I was the only one there, and then eventually I'm gonna have to see patients, and then spontaneously I would just create forms, standards, connect the department with other departments. And when that happened, of course, I started to go broader, get called from other people, create other departments within the same clinic. So, because again, my mentality is all about the multidisciplinary approach, which is connecting departments together.
Of course. And doctor, which age group do you usually target with your the speech and swallowing practices specifically? Do you have a specific age group? Are they kids who are learning how to speak? Because sometimes, you know, kids, they say the wrong letters. So that can be
at the beginning of my career, yes, I worked with all different age groups, but later I decided to focus on only one age group because I wanted to focus.
You wanted to focus more on adults,
wanted to focus.
Maybe.
So I work with adults mostly, except for stuttering. I see all ages.
Stuttering, you see all ages.
Stuttering, I see all ages.
Is that common here in Kuwait, stuttering?
I think yes.
See, I don't know. We don't have statistics. Maybe it's our job to do this, but
of course you have, like, it's actually depends on how many patients you get about stuttering.
Yeah, but I'm only one in one clinic, so we don't have statistics about this. However, the global percentage, it's probably less than 2% of the globe.
Did Dr. Muhammad...
So I wouldn't say it's common, but it's there. It's there,
Exactly. And inshallah, whenever they got, inshallah, they will get better and better. So did Dr. Muhammad achieve his goal or yet?
Of course not.
Okay, can you tell us about the goal?
Well, whenever you reach a goal, you will get lazy. So always set new goals.
So what's your next goal?
Get better in what I'm doing. I'm not trying to do new things now. Probably the priority goes to aim for perfection in what I'm doing.
Of course.
And yes, you always have to set new goals for yourself. Otherwise, you'll just finish and get lazy.
Of course, I think this is a very important point. Sometimes, you know, people, when they have a goal, they achieve it and they just stop. So it's very important to just like keep updating your goals, getting new goals.
Whenever you achieve
goals. Never set yourself like a ceiling. Just keep going. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. But of course, do you think that these goals in the future will motivate you to reach a higher goals, or maybe to slow you down and to think, okay, I'm gonna get cold here, I'm not going to go any further?
Of course, I mean, it depends on your availability, it depends on your capacity, it depends on your capability. So always know yourself and you respect your limits. However, you will always find your new goals for yourself. Even if you're staying home, even if you can't walk, you will find goals for yourself. Yeah.
Of course. So Mohammed, we know you have a lot of different passions. You studied in a lot of different countries. So if you go back in time, would you choose something else? Different major, different country?
Should I say media again?
Would you choose media again? Would you do?
I don't know.
Do you think it will go the same way as a successful person?
See, I'm a photographer now, so it's getting closer.
This
I
is
do
media,
photography.
I think.
It's getting
almost
closer.
like did everything that he wanted.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
deal with lights, with cameras. Yeah, so I would say that I fulfilled at least like small percentage of what I was doing. But I love my job. I love being a speech pathologist and like let's say a trainer, because you can find the benefits right away on people. Especially if being a pathologist, I work in a hospital. A lot of people can get help.
Of course, you get like this kind of sense of gratitude whenever you're helping
Especially
someone.
those who have swallowing problems. Imagine not eating for several months, sometimes years. And fortunately, swallowing therapy or treatment is easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but you can see the results in a very short time if you get the right kind of treatment. Yes, you can
With
kill
the right
someone.
doctor, of course.
Yeah, you can kill someone, of course, if you give them like the wrong technique or wrong kind of food. Yes, you can kill someone. However, it's easier than other like things to treat. You can see the results within 5, 6, 7, 8 sessions maximum. You can at least see some results. And for those who haven't had any food for months, once you put the food in their mouth and they're asking, you tell them, it's okay to swallow now. You get tears. People cry around you.
Of course, because
Yes.
it's going to be a huge moment.
Of course.
It is a huge moment. So imagine having this weekly in your life, like whenever you treat a patient.
It is a
you
good
see,
feeling
yeah,
for
like
you,
you
doctor.
see the tears in their eyes, and that. I think that's wonderful. It's a good feeling.
You
to
change
have.
someone's life.
So probably, I would stick to what I'm doing. Yeah.
So, doctor, after this lovely information that you gave us, we are so happy that we took all of these informations and we got to know about everything about speech and swallowing pathologist. Unfortunately, we reached our time.
Oh,
so do you
that
have
was so
one last-
quick.
Yeah. do you have one last thing to say to our viewers before we end?
I would say again, have to try to set small goals for yourself. We don't want you to do everything in life. However, try to see where you shine and stick to it, and then try to at least aim for perfection. I don't want to claim that I do everything in life, but however, I let the domain pick me. I don't pick the domain, but I let the domain pick me, and then when I see myself there, I try to set new goals, small goals, tiny goals, and then try at least to aim for perfection, rather than trying to distract yourself with everything in life or doing nothing. Yeah.
Of course, we thank you so much for being here and
Well,
for
thank you
that
for hosting me.
advice,
Thank you. Welcome.
sharing all this amazing information with us.
Pleasure.
We really had so much fun, and it was really our pleasure to host you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And with that, our viewers, we reached our time. But as always, it is my pleasure to be your co-host, Fatma.
Thank you, Abdelatif. It's always a pleasure to host with you. And with that, our dear viewers, we have reached the end of our episode for this evening. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.